Okay, welcome to Proportions with Fractions homework from Mrs. Conlon's and Miss Loney's class. It's okay, it's fine. Don't worry about it. We're going to go through this and hopefully you'll understand it. It's easier than you think. We're doing proportions, and today we're throwing in some fractions. Just remember, the most important thing is to look at your units. We're going to do, on this problem, an object weighs 176 ounces. Hey Riley, that's fine. Ounces, and how much does it weigh in pounds? So we're doing a problem that is ounces to pounds. Set up your proportions first. If we do that, the most important thing, ounces per pounds. Thank you. Ounces per pounds, we set it up with the numbers. The first thing is right here. 176 ounces on the top, and the pounds is on the bottom. How much does it weigh in pounds? Well, we know we have an X here. We don't know how much it weighs, but we do have 1 pound is 16 ounces. So the 16 goes on the top. And the pounds goes on the bottom. Once you have that, it's as simple as cross multiplying. 16 times X is 16X. 1 times 176 equals 176. Now we start to divide. And we don't have to do this first problem. I guess I'm just trying to show you how to do it. We divide by 16 to get rid of the 16, because anything divided by itself is 1. 1x is the same as saying x. When we divide that with the calculator, so we take 176 divided by 16 is equal to 11. So x is equal to 11. Basically, 176 ounces is equal to 11 pounds, thanks to the calculator. Whoops, sorry about that. We didn't have to do that one, but you should know how. Let's go down to what we worked on in class today. 3 cubic yards converted to cubic feet. And I guess I should put cubic yards to cubic feet, right? So yards cubed to feet cubed, right? And we can start the other way now. We can actually do the one that they've given us. 1 cubic yard is 27 cubic feet, right? So yards is here, so it's a 1, and cubic feet is here. Put that down at the bottom, which is here. 1 to 27 is equal to how many, they want to know what 3 cubic yards is. So where does it go? It goes on the top. Yards is on top. The 3 goes on top and the x goes on the bottom, because we don't know how many feet it equals. Cross multiply. I like using the red. X, because 1x is just the same as x. And then we have to do 3 times 27. So we do 3 times 27 equals 81. X is 81, and then we can label it feet cubed. Feet cubed. What is 3 cubic yards converted to cubic feet? Well, it's 81 cubic feet. There it is. Now let's get into the fractions that we covered today in class, and I'll zoom in a little bit here. Okay, maybe that's a little too much. That works. Let's read the problem. You're getting ready for a family vacation. You decide to download as many movies as possible before leaving for the road trip. If each movie takes 1 2/5 hours to download, and you download 5 1/4 hours, how many movies did you download? So, to download and downloaded. So, how many movies did you download? So this is movie number, right? So let's set up the units. To download. You know what? I like this better. Hours to download over movies downloaded. So hours to download, and then the movies downloaded. Right? Okay. So here we go. So the first number is hours to download. Goes on the top. That's 1 2/5. And then you downloaded for 5 1/4 hours. How many did you download? So each movie takes this long. How many movies? 1. Right? Each movie, this is a hard one, is the 1. And then they said you downloaded for 5 1/4 hours, right? So you put 5 1/4 on the top. That's hours to download. And you did that many. And then how many movies did you download? That's the bottom. Took me a while to think that through, but that's okay. So 1 times 2/5 times x, you know what that equals. 1 2/5 x is equal to, what is 1 times 5 1/4? And we know what that is. 5 1/4. How do we get 1 2/5 x equals 1 times this? Now we have to get rid of the number next to the x, so we divide by 1 2/5, and we do that to both sides, remember? 1 2/5. Take your calculator. We know that this and this cancel out, and you get x, because this divided by this is 1. 1x is the same as x. Now in your calculator, we put in 5 1/4, 5 ABC 1 ABC 4, that's 5 1/4, divided by 1 ABC 2 ABC 5, that's how you write 1 2/5, and you get equals 3 3/4 movies downloaded. There you go. Straightforward. Let's go over to number 4. Okay, Jim's painting his new shed. If 1/5 gallon of paint covers 2 2/25 of the shed, how many gallons of paint would be needed to paint 4 sheds? So we have to do gallons, right, per shed. So this is gallons per shed. Okay, and we know that gallons, let's put it over here, is 1/5, and shed that it covered when they painted was 2 2/25. Now we want to know, remember the sheds on the bottom? They're saying for 4 sheds. Let's put 4 sheds on the bottom, and we don't know how much paint we need in gallons. Let's figure it out. Should we use green this time? 2/5 times 2/25 times x is 2/25 x. And what is 1/5 times 4? Take your calculator. 1 ABC 5 times 4 is equal to 4/5. You probably knew that. And now we get rid of the number next to our variable, or x, by dividing by that number. What you do to one side, you do to the other. This divided by this is just 1. 1x. We write that as x. 4/5 divided by 2/25. 4 ABC 5 divided by 2 ABC 25 equals 10. The answer is you can paint 10 sheds. Oh, sorry, 10 gallons is our answer. Because remember, the top is gallons. So it's 10 gallons is needed to paint 4 sheds. You need 10 gallons to paint 4 sheds. Okay? Oh, I never started it.
How do you look up your Prodigy?
No, actually, we are doing our movement. I messed up our buttons. Okay. Finish that up. Let's do one more. Recipe calls. One more. Recipe calls for 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. So this is a brown sugar on top for each 2/3 cup of white sugar. So it's a brown sugar to white sugar. B sugar over W sugar. You're smart, you can figure that out. And that is 3/4 of a cup of brown over 2/3 of a cup of white. And they want to know how many cups of brown sugar, how many cups of brown sugar, brown's on the top, are used with 2 cups of white sugar. White sugar, white sugar, white sugar, 2. Let's use green again. 2/3 times x is 2/3 x. And what is 2 times 3/4? Well, I know that's 6/4 or 1 1/2, but let's do the multiplication. 2 times, 2 times 3 ABC 4 is equal to 1 1/2, right? So let's do 1 1/2. And now we have to get rid of this number next to the x. That's the variable. Just divide by the same number, because 2/3 divided by 2/3 is 1. 1x is equal to 1. That's why we say cancels out. When it becomes a 1, it's canceling each other out. And then we divide that by 2/3, because it's what you do to one side, you do to the other. Alright, so 1, ABC 1, ABC 2, that's 1 1/2, divided by 2, ABC 3, that's 2/3, and we get 2 1/4. 2 1/4. 2 1/4 cups brown sugar. There it is. We have time for one more. I think we have time for one more on the homework. You're doing the rest of the page tonight. I think you got the idea here. They're mixing a chemical solution, these scientists, for an experiment. The solution contains 3/8 of an ounce of chemical. Okay, 3/8 of an ounce of, and of course it would be on that end, and 1/6 ounce of saline solution. So it's chemical, most important part, over saline solution. The first chemical is 3/8, so we put it on top with chemical. Saline solution is 1/6 of an ounce. I probably should put ounce over here, OZ. And they want to know how much saline solution should be mixed. Oh, we don't know saline solution, so the bottom's going to be X. Should be mixed with 4 ounces of chemical, so we know that's 4. Go back to it. 3/8 times X is 3/8 X. And then we do 4 times 1/6, correct? 4 times 1 ABC 6 is equal to 2/3. And then we have to get rid of the number next to the X. We divide by that number, which is 3/8. And what we do to one side, we do to the other. This divided by this is 1. 1x, we can just say x. What's 2/3 divided by 3/8? 2 ABC 3 divided by 3 ABC 8. 2/3 divided by 3/8, and we get an answer of 1 7/9. And that's the answer. 1 7/9 ounce of saline solution. We can write SS. Okay? That's going to be about enough time for us today. You finish the rest on your own. Good luck.